So I just went for a walk around Tokyo with my iPhone 15 Pro Max, shooting the new Apple Log, and this is what I recorded. I wasn't really planning to make this video. I was just moving to a different hotel, as you can see. But the light was really nice, so I figured I'd go out and see what I can shoot with the iPhone. But then I ended up shooting the whole day, pretty much, because I had a blast. I wasn't expecting it to be this fun, to be honest, shooting log combined with the Blackmagic app. But it was, so I decided to make this video and also talk about it a little bit. Honestly, I wasn't really planning to even get the iPhone 15. The announcement was pretty underwhelming, and I kind of just missed the whole deal about Apple Log until a little bit later. But as soon as I heard about Apple Log, I knew I had to at least try getting it. Because I've always loved shooting with my phone, and by always I mean for the past couple years since the iPhone 13 came out. I've especially loved shooting Instagram Reels. I shoot like 90% of my Reels content with the iPhone, but I never liked the over sharpening and post-processing Apple automatically applies on their clips. So as soon as I heard about the Apple Log coming out, I knew I had to try it, because this way I could be able to bypass the processing and then decide my own level of sharpening and grading. The first time I tried shooting it, I was using the default app, and maybe like 1/3 of the footage was actually even usable, because it is very difficult to expose the log. You don't have that much highlights especially, so a lot of the footage was either under or mostly overexposed, and it looked worse than like the default footage. But out of the footage that was actually properly exposed, it was quite good. So then I got the Blackmagic Cam app, and using it with display LUTs makes exposing a lot more simple. You just see what you get. And also if you add like a stylized LUT in there, you can kind of anticipate the color grade, and that is even more fun. Yesterday the light was really nice, and I was just pointing the camera at everything, looking at the way that it would look when it was already color graded, and I was like, ooh, nice. And that's how I ended up shooting pretty much the whole day. There are a couple of quirks with the Blackmagic app that you have to learn if you start using it. Like for example, exposure. When shooting during the daytime on the phone, you really don't have much to work with in terms of exposure, because you can't even stop down the lenses. So then you still have to increase the shutter speed to get the exposure, unless you get like a ND filter. I don't have an ND filter at the moment. So then I was just tapping the screen and using like the exposure compensation to expose, but sometimes the app would choose weird settings like boost the ISO, but then go the lowest possible on the shutter speed, meaning that I had some unnecessary motion blur. So then I pretty much learned that I have to manually control all of the settings, which just makes the shooting process a little bit more slow, especially if you're not used to the app, but it's pretty much worth it. Another thing is I didn't figure out there's the option to choose the stabilization strength until I looked at the footage, and I realized it was a little bit more horizontally wobbly than usual. So then I noticed that there's like a standard and a cinematic and extreme option for the stabilization. I found the cinematic option to be, I think that is the default, what the actual default camera app uses, and I found that to be the best compromise between all these different settings. By the way, as you can see, I'm filming from a new hotel room, and I don't travel with a tripod, so my setup is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, once that I've gotten a little bit more used to the app, I'm just really enjoying shooting with the new iPhone. And I also didn't expect to use the 120mm lens, the 5x zoom, as much as I do, because on the previous phone, the 14, the zoom lens was very soft, and I think it's partly because they added like some processing on the zoom lens on the previous one to make it even softer for some reason. But again, with the log shooting, you can now bypass all the processing, and I think the lens is better overall, and the wide angle is also a little bit better. But yeah, if you have an iPhone 15 or you're thinking about getting it and you shoot a lot on the phone, I do recommend it. I didn't expect it to be this fun. I had a blast, and I'm definitely going to use it a lot more, especially for shooting reels and TikToks, and also like YouTube behind the scenes stuff when I need to take photos of the camera that I'm shooting with.